If you have been patiently waiting for Canada's immigration levels for 2026 to 2028, then stay tuned because I'm about to break it down in a simple, easy to understand way. On November 4th, 2025, Canada announced big changes to its immigration plan. Well, not as big as I expected, but what the heck. I will tell you all about it. But in summary, Canada is giving fewer spots for international students and temporary workers, but the same number of permanent residents as at last year. They also want to bring in more skilled workers to help the economy. So, whether you're a student, a worker, or someone that is already in Canada or planning to come soon, this plan could affect you. In a way, it affects whether you get to stay in Canada, bring your family, or even get Canada permanent residency. In this video, I'll show you what's really in the plan and how it could change your journey to Canada PR. So in summary, what's in the plan? Canada's government has framed 2026 to 2028 as a return to sustainable levels. The headline figures are 380,000 permanent residents each year, down slightly from 95,000 in 2025, and 385,000 temporary residents in 2026, dropping to 370,000 in 2027 to 2028. Permanent immigration stays steady. The shakeup comes in temporary visas. Now, specifically, international student numbers are capped at 155,000 new student arrivals in 2026 and 150,000 in 2027 to 2028, about half of last year's 306,000 cap. For temporary workers, the plan is for 230,000 new work permit arrivals in 2026, down from about 368,000 in 2025. And this allocation is 170,000 under the International Mobility Program and 60,000 under the Temporary Foreign Worker Program. In other words, the plan is to bring in roughly 37,000 fewer foreign workers next year. Now, let's talk about permanent residents. The total admission target is 380,000 per year. The economy class share rises to about 64,000 of all PRs in 2027 to 2028, and this is the highest share in a decade. In practice, PNPs jumped from 55,000 in 2025 to 91,500 in 2026. And the federal skilled worker targets are going up to roughly 111,000. Family class stays around 22,000 of PRs and refugees at about 13,000. Overall, the government says this mix prioritizes best talent for jobs and it eases pressure on housing and services. Permanent economic immigrants, especially through provincial nominee programs, the PNPs, are the big winners in this levels plan. Family sponsorship and humanitarian streams are relatively stable, though they are slightly smaller in share. I did notice that despite cuts everywhere, Canada doubles down on refugee resettlement percentage. It will expedite 115,000 recognized protected persons already in Canada to permanent resident status over 2 years, plus 33,000 long-term temporary workers to permanent residents. Let's talk about that next. The 2026 to 2028 levels plan introduces two special programs on top of Canada's baseline numbers. Over the next 2 years, Canada will expedite permanent residency for roughly 115,000 protected persons. Now, these are accepted refugees already in Canada and up to 33,000 long-term work permit holders. In official terms, these initiatives are in addition to the existing 380,000 per year targets. In practice, this means Canada aims to stabilize PR intake at 380,000 per year while fast-tracking status for those that are already here in Canada. The rationale is humanitarian and practical, permanently integrating accepted refugees who already have legal protected status anyway, and regularizing workers who have established strong roots in Canada. It's a positive move. As per the 33,000 work permit holders, the government says that these workers are paying taxes and helping to build the strong economy that Canada needs. I love that. Observers have compared this to the 2021 TR to PR programs in the heat of COVID. But unlike 2021's pathway, this new one is more limited. It's just 33,000 spots and is targeted at those already employed long-term in Canada. Exact eligibility, that is the skill level, the occupation, is it rural, is it urban, all of that is not yet detailed. So we will wait for IRCC's instructions on this one. I have observed that this hint at a potential TR to PR pathway has become the highlight of these immigration levels. And though I love it, I feel that IRCC may surprise all of us when the time comes to implement. However, if you read between the lines, you can hint at it being targeted at certain occupations in certain specific places. But that's all I can say for now. It remains to be seen whether IRCC will open these on a first-come, first-served basis model as in 2021 or another format. We will also wait to see how they spread this over 2026 and 2027. Looking at the plan generally, there are some winners and losers. By far, the biggest winner is the provincial nominee program. The cap leaps from 55,000 to up to 91,500 in 2026. Many provinces insisted the federal government had cut them too deep last year, and the result is the Canada government effectively admitting that it needs the provinces to solve job shortages, especially in economic immigration. Now, let's talk about international students. If you're a foreign student that you're planning to come to Canada to study, things just got a little bit harder. The Canadian government wants to give out fewer student visas next year, almost 50% less. That means more students will apply, but fewer will get accepted. Now, this is a big problem for universities and colleges in Canada because schools make a lot of money from international students. So some schools are now cutting programs or saying that they don't have enough money. It may be easier for master's and PhD students, but for other programs, there are fewer spots to study in Canada in 2026. Now let's talk about work and jobs. Some businesses in Canada bring in foreign workers, but Canada is changing the rules. The country wants fewer low-wage workers and more skilled workers like engineers or tech experts. So if you're a low-skilled worker, it might get harder to come into Canada. But if you're a manager, an engineer, or a CEO being transferred from a company outside Canada, your chances are better. And now, families and refugees. Not much is changing here. The number of permanent residents allowed to bring family is staying about the same. But because the total number of immigrants is going down, there will be fewer family spots overall. That means delays may continue, and people that are waiting to bring their spouse or their parents might have to wait even longer. For refugees, the number stays the same, about 13 out of every 100 new immigrants. But Canada is also planning to add a few more spots for special humanitarian cases, especially for people who are already in Canada and want to bring in their kids or their partners. So, in short, there will be fewer study permits, means that it might be harder for students to come into Canada. Schools might lose a lot of money and cancel programs. It's already happening. Fewer low-wage workers and more high-skilled professionals. Family and refugee numbers are not changing much, but the wait times might be longer. Let me know in the comments, what part of this surprised you the most, and what do you think about these immigration levels plan? The message, however, is clear. Canada's 2026 to 2028 immigration levels plan is historic in its ambition to recalibrate the system. Canada wants quality over quantity. They want to manage housing, healthcare, and jobs better. But it also means that the door isn't as wide open as before. Now I want to hear from you. Do you think that this new plan is fair? Does it give enough chances to people who have waited for years? Or is it shutting out too many people? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read every single one of them. And if this video helped you understand what is changing, please like it, share, and subscribe so you don't miss the next big update. Tell me, what other topics would you like us to talk about? Drop them in the comments. Canada immigration is moving fast, and I'll be here to keep it real for you. I'll see you in the next one.